What if I told you that the biggest thing that is trapping you isn't the world around you? It's your own fears. We all have fears. They keep us safe. Well, sometimes until they don't. And guess what? This is what bothers me the most. Sometimes those fears aren't even yours. They've been implanted in your brain. And no, not by an alien type thing, but by 24/7 news channels, by weather reports even, and by what I call doomsday scrolling. And so today I'm talking about fear, especially in the preparedness world, and how it can limit you, actually kind of put you in a cage. And trust me, it's a cage or a trap that both many preppers and non-preppers fall into. So fear, is it a friend or is it a foe? Well, it can be either, right? It's an alarm system kind of built into our brain, and it can help us survive. I mean, that's one of the reasons we aren't going to pet a rattlesnake, right? And we know it's probably not a good idea, especially after watching a lot of horror movies, to walk down a dark alleyway at 2 a.m. in the morning. Fear can help keep us safe. But what if fear is exaggerated, manipulated, and consistently reinforced? Then it stops helping you and it starts controlling you. And the media, oh, do they love to feed that fear. I mean, think of some of the titles like Breaking News, Experts Warn of a Financial Collapse. Are you ready? Or Storm of the Century Coming. Here's what you need to know. Deadly virus spreading. Is your family safe? Well, I think you get the idea. Fear sells. It can keep you glued to that screen, clicking articles, and tuning them for those updates, which often really don't update at all. They rarely tell you anything. Even weather channels are that way now. You know, it's always catastrophic or historic storm or the big one is coming. You know, it used to be we just turned in and thought, do we need an umbrella today or not? And now we get doomsday weather forecasts. So why is that? Well, it's because fear sells. Fear keeps people watching, and it results in, for those that often spread the fear, money or power. And it's not just the media, right? There's a lot of companies out there that prey on people's fear. You know, trying to sell you a lot of overpriced survival gear, freeze-dried food, things of that nature that you may but may not need. But instead of trying to sell you it based on facts, they try to sell it based on your fears. So please always be skeptical. Look for the facts, not the fiction. You know, and there seems to be a fear with many people of, oh, I would never travel outside the United States. You know, I always wanted to see Europe, or I always wanted to see Machu Picchu. But no, with everything going on in the world, there's no way I would travel outside of my country. Or I would love to take a cruise. But have you heard all those ships? They have the norovirus. I don't want to pay for a cruise and then get sick. I guess I'll just stay home. Well, that kind of speaks to me because very soon I will be getting on a plane and traveling all the way to Bali, Indonesia, and spending a couple days there and then getting on a cruise ship and going to ports in Indonesia, in Vietnam and Thailand, ending up in Singapore and flying home. So am I letting the fear of what might happen control me? No, I'm not. You know, you got to look at statistics. And often what news and other channels show is the worst case scenario, right? They don't show all the happy travelers. They just show those that were in an unfortunate event. And that's what sticks in your mind and helps have those fears grow. And there's a fear out there of the medical system, and there's so much misinformation. And I understand. I don't completely trust doctors either because I work in the industry. I know of all the mistakes that can happen. But I also know that I am not going to believe a website over this miracle cure over getting some advice from a trusted medical doctor like people do. I keep up with my vaccines. I believe in them. I remember what polio was like. No, thank you. But there's so many misconceptions out of there, and people believe it without checking the facts. Just because something happens to one person doesn't mean it happens to a million people. I'm thinking my youngest son a couple weeks ago, he's in his 30s, he had to have his tonsils out, and it's much more serious for an adult. So he spent some days back here at home just to make sure he didn't have a bleed or something of that nature. But he was very nervous, anxiety prone when he read all the things that could happen, right, on the internet. Truth is, yep, he had some pain. He was uncomfortable for some days, but it turned out fine. And now there's AI, artificial intelligence, and fake news spreading fear. You see the titles, and those titles are what sticks in your mind. But really, you have to check, are those pictures real? Is the information factual? Or is it just there to breed fear and, in essence, control you? Just because something is viral doesn't mean it's true. And then I see people not trusting other people. It's the trust no one mindset. And the absolute truth is, help out those in your community. A community is much better for facing a catastrophe than the lone wolf. So, don't be skeptical of everybody's actions. Some people really are just there to help you. And what I really get frustrated about is the doomers, the doom and gloomers. That is what gets the most publicity out there. And those of us that are more lifestyle preppers, yeah, we're not too exciting, I guess. Don't make a good news story. So, if you believe that the world is coming to an end every other week and you're a doom and gloomer, how does that affect your life? You get obsessed over what could happen instead of making prepping part of your lifestyle so you can go out and enjoy yourself. There's a cost with living in fear. Remember I talked about that cage? Guess what? If you live in fear, you age faster. You have more stress in your life. That's just not good for your health. So what can you do about it? Well, here's some suggestions to break free from fear. One of the things I think important is to shift from the what ifs to what is. Yes, this terrible, terrible thing could happen at the very end of a continuum. But what is more probable? Just don't base your life on worst case scenarios. And then something I really, really recommend is turning off the hype machines, as I call them. I do not watch 24/7 news channels. I do read news from various places, but I don't watch it. And I don't subscribe to doom and gloom channels. So try to make smart, informed decisions. Don't believe necessarily just what you're told. Always do your own research. And then try to live in the present. Instead of obsessing over those worst case scenarios that may never happen, right? And that's a little difficult for me because as a prepper, I do think about the what ifs might happen. But I also realize that This is my life, right? I want to enjoy it. In fact, I look for something that brings me joy every single day. And I look forward to new experiences and meeting new people and learning something new. So, you know, is the world as dangerous as we think? Maybe. Depends on what you think. But I say, don't let fear control you and your actions. Be prepared, be informed, and enjoy your life. And help others enjoy theirs. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had fear, or do you have fear right now that prevents you from doing something? Or have you ever broken free from a what if trap? Please comment below. We all learn from each other. And as always, share the knowledge. And thank you for watching this video.